Hey everyone, welcome back to Roll Radio. I'm your host Zinkas, and today I'm joined by a very special guest, Riz, or Call Me Karizma, as he's professionally known. Riz is an American singer, songwriter, and rapper. Riz, welcome to the show.
We're here. I'm excited. Feels good. It feels good to see your face finally. I talk to you all the time and I finally get to see what you look like. I don't know, did you call it a mohawk?
Yep.
Right? Oh, looks good. I haven't seen one of those in a while. You're rocking it.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think a lot of people are curious about how it looked like. So this is
Yeah.
going to be the first time they'll see me. Awesome. Well, to kick things off, I'd love to hear more about your upbringing and where you're coming from. So if you want to tell us more about that, that'd be lovely.
Yeah, I'm actually still from a small town. I still live in the same town I grew up in my whole life. It's just a small town in Minnesota. Raised with two parents and in a middle class, very white town. And yeah, I've just lived here my whole life. I lived in LA for a little bit, but I've always like loved Minnesota and like hunting and fishing and all that like outdoors kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so I don't know. I write some of my best music here, just because I feel at peace and there's not a lot of chaos going on. I can just sit and create. I think that's good for a lot of people. So
Yeah, absolutely. And you started writing songs at a very young age. What was it, 12?
yeah, it was like, yeah, 11, 12, somewhere in there. Like, it, my favorite artist is and was Eminem.
Mhm.
So he like me and my friends would watch like 8 Mile, the movie, and we'd like rap battle raps in between classes and like give each other notes. And like that was kind of our, way of, starting music. And then I'm like, I should record this. So
Yeah, so it started out kind of like as a hobby between friends.
yeah, exactly.
Awesome. And do you recall when you started getting involved with music in a more professional note?
Yeah, so I mean, I did like my first show. I saw like this flyer for an open mic, and I was like at 16 years old. I did that, and then, gosh, really though, I didn't start making enough money to like live as an artist till like I was maybe at 21, and I
Mhm.
just turned 26, April 28th, so a week ago or so. And yeah, I mean, before that, I was working at like Target and like Party City, which are some American places where, the stores and whatever, trying to work, make money and do music. And eventually, you made enough money in music.
Yeah, I get. And so far, you've released two albums, Uninvited in 2016 and To Hell with Hollywood in 2020, and two EPs. You had some features with artists like Only Child, Millennium, Futuristic. What has your career been like so far? What were some of the most notable moments for you?
I think, well, my first tour I got to go on was with Modson and Black Bear and Nash. He has that song, I Hate You, I Love You. Like
Mhm.
it was a few years ago. But, and at the time, um none of those artists, Modson, Black Bear, Nash, like were very known. Modson was pretty known, and he's even bigger now, but Black Bear wasn't what he is today. So it was really cool to like, that was like our first tour in 2015, not their first tour but my first tour. And to see all those artists like really grow and do their own thing over the last 5 6 years is like really cool. So I think that's one high moment in my life, is starting kind of from the ground up with some of these artists that are super big. Yeah, and doing like features with Millennium and things like that were really cool because I've never really listened to EDM type music. And when he messaged me and he's like, yo, I really like your song, god damn it. And then he kind of like did like a remix rendition of it. It was amazing. And I think that was cool to I don't know if you ever heard of Red Rocks, but it's like a music venue in outside of Denver, Colorado, and there's
Mhm.
like tens of thousands of people there, and he played the song live, and it was super cool to see.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Pre-COVID, I assume.
yeah. This was 2019 probably.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and about Mozart and Blackbeard, there was this story about fans tweeting at them, and then you eventually toured with them. Do you want to tell us how and what happened there?
Yeah, so Modson tweeted, he's like, hey, he's from Minnesota as well. So I've like always kind of looked up to him. He's like a great dude. And he tweeted, he's like, and this was in 2015. He's
Mhm.
like, who should I bring on tour with me? Like, who's like a local opener or something that you guys like? And I had like 4,000 followers on Twitter at the time. And
Mhm.
I just DM'd them all. I'm like, yo, everyone just mass spam this guy. And then eventually we got an email from like his manager or someone, and they're like, hey, we saw a bunch of, interaction. Like, would you want to come on tour with us? And we put it together a lot of money, and because it costs a lot to, go out
Mhm.
especially when we're not getting paid to play. We just get to open.
Yeah.
And it happened. A friend of mine who um, has had some money at the time, and we're just like, screw it, man. Like, let's just do it and put all that money in there and do it. And I wouldn't be here today without that tour for sure.
Mhm. Yeah, must have been great.
Yeah, it was cool.
And awesome. Your latest song, you recently released a song called Vacuum Boy. It has already over a little over 35,000 views in about 5 days. What has been, and which is awesome.
Yeah.
And could you tell us about that, like the inspiration there,
Mm.
and what it means to you?
Yeah, yeah. So I was doing right before COVID, like February of 2020. Oh, I mean, there was like COVID in like China and things, but it wasn't like really known where you couldn't travel or anything yet. And I was doing some like some meetups because I wanted to do a tour, but I wasn't sure how like big I was yet overseas to be able to do that. So I didn't want to go out there and like flop and like waste a bunch of money and everything. So we went over and just did like I brought like a ukulele and we kind of did like park meetups and shows,
Mhm.
and hundreds of people in some of these cities like Hamburg and Berlin and we went to Netherlands, London, bunch of places. And the last stop was in Oslo, and it was so funny because out of all the places, I thought Norway would be cool. My grandma's full Norwegian, and I was like, oh, this is cool. I get to go to like my home motherland, and there was like four people there, and it was like there's like no one there, and we're like, what the heck? And one of the people that showed up was like a artist kind of friend, and he's like, hey man, like we have a studio, and I'm like, well, I have nothing else to do, right? And it was my last day before going to Russia, which was like the next stop, and we went to the studio, and I had this like guitar loop that dun dun, and I kind of had something written, but I didn't know what it really was yet, and we just fleshed it out, and look at now, like a year and 3-4 months later, we
Mhm.
put it out. So it's pretty cool.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
And I think you have an upcoming tour now.
Hmm.
Hopefully with COVID and everything, it goes well. Do you
Yeah.
want to share more about that? Do you have info there that you can share?
So right now we're doing like two parts. It's gonna be all all North America first, and then I'll probably go to like Russia's one of my biggest markets, so we'll probably go there next. But it's like 8 shows is the first part, and then the second part is gonna be we're gonna see kind of how the tickets and stuff sell. Hopefully they sell well because people are excited, but it's hopefully it'll be in the fall, and hopefully by then everyone will be either vaccinated or don't want it, whatever. But COVID should be hopefully less than it is now. But so we're gonna try to sell tickets now on the hype that like in the fall everything's gonna be great, and so
Mhm.
we'll see how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now that you mentioned COVID, what's it been like to kind of like do music in the COVID era? I mean, I know that shows are very difficult or next to impossible to do with all the restrictions, and I think that the whole mood of COVID and the lockdowns and everything can either inspire a musician to either create more or can just start creating a stalemate there. So, do you want to tell us about how you dealt with it and
Yeah.
what was the impact it had on you?
Yeah, yeah. I think overall, um, for m- for all artists and like even all creatives and anything like that, probably in your world as well, like you kind of had to sorry, one second, I'm gonna get rid of that. You kind of had to really buckle down and realize that we don't really know this is gonna end, and you can either kind of
Mhm.
get lazy and kind of be like, oh, this is never ending, or you can be like, during this time, like I'm gonna work extra hard. And I think with musicians you saw that kind of separate the weak from the strong a little bit, and I've seen that happen with like comedians and actors and maybe even people in like the crypto world and social money and all that stuff too. I'm not as versed on that, but it really separated people, and for me it actually helped because I had a lot of time to write. I had a lot of time to think about, okay, when all this comes back, like what's next in my career. It kind of gave like a little a pause, a forced pause that I never really took before. And yeah, no, it sucked not being able to play shows.
Mhm.
But other than that, I mean, people are still listening to Spotify. They're still buying merch. So it's still like my career is still going on. It's just
Yeah.
unfortunately we couldn't see people in person.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of your career and your music in general, apart from your show, what's next there?
So we have a bunch of singles that we're lining up. I'm independent right now. I'm not on a label anymore, which is for me, it was amazing because I could kind of do what I wanted. But we shot a bunch of videos. The first one was Vacuum Boy, and we have like 4 or 5 other ones shot. But we're kind of like talking to a few companies like distribution and that just to kind of get the best bang for our buck, I guess you could say. Like I want the songs to do well. So if that means teaming up with like a company maybe, then I'll talk to them and like we'll think about that. So that's kind of what we're doing. We're just planning out the rest. We have so much like I have so much music that's ready to go.
Hmm. Awesome. That's lovely to hear. And one question for the songs you already have out. Do you have a favorite one that you like the most?
I don't know, it's so hard. Like, you know, you put out a song and you always think it's your favorite, right? Because it's like your next thing. And I think that's with almost anything, that any kind of creative puts out there, like this is my next, even if other people don't think so. But I'm actually really surprised about this Vacuum Boy song. I thought of it as more just like a fun song, but people are really relating to the lyrics and they like it. So that's kind of cool. But I'd say if I looked back, Serotonin and Recycled Youth, those are some of my like heavier songs, and I really like those. But I do have a song called um, Who I Am that is not out, and I've sat on it for like 2 or 3 years, and it's the best song I've ever written by far. But I just don't know when to put it out yet, so I've like waited.
Yeah, that's a good move.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for the folks listening, definitely visit Riz's YouTube channel, Call Me Karizma, and listen to his music and define and find your own favorite song from him. And we're gonna have a special surprise for the listeners. In the banner down in the links that next to his social, you'll see a globe icon. You can click on that and get some Riz from him, some of his social money. And speaking of which, I'd love to jump in on that and talk about more about crypto and Riz and how you got involved there. So, if you want to tell us more about how you got involved with crypto in the first place and kind of what led you to create your own social money, Riz.
Yeah, it's funny. So my brother is 23. He's gonna be 24, and he just finished up college, and oh, he's been begging me and like pestering me about Bitcoin, right? So I was like, dude, like this is a joke. Like, what is Bitcoin, right? At first, and I was like, it's not real, like And I didn't get into the world yet, and he was telling me, he's like, dude, Bitcoin's about to be over $10,000. Like, just buy in now. And then finally, at like 30 some thousand, I'm like, all right, let's try this. And then I've just been hooked. Like, I just got into this world. There's like so many different communities, and like, it's funny. I had Discord just for my like fan base,
Mhm.
and now I'm like into all these different discords like with crypto and like known origin, all these different places anyways. And I don't know, it's a whole new world, and it's really cool because it truly is. I believe it's the future. You see that with NFTs, and so it's really showing that art and crypto can merge together. It's not a separate thing at all. I think crypto could be involved in everything. And I saw RAC like on Twitter, and I'm like, what is this social money? Um, and like tokens and all these different things. Because at that time, I was just like, all right, I know of Bitcoin and Ethereum. I didn't know too much else.
Mhm.
And I started researching. And that's when I found you guys at Roll, and I'm like, that sounds so cool because I have a fan base that would do this. It's not like I have people just listening to my music. I have people like invested in me. Like they'll buy all my hoodies. They'll get my music trending. Like they'll do everything that I really ask. And like, I think that's a cool way to reward people with working so hard to help me as an independent artist, and I think that's
Mhm.
what social money can do.
Mhm. So that's what kind of like led you to actually create your own social money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Cause I was like, there's got to be a way instead of just saying like, hey, like stream my song on Spotify and I'll give you a free hoodie. You know what I mean? Like that's like cool, but you can only do it so much to where it's like, all right. But this is like an actual way to reward people. They just click a link, they can have it, and then they can like use it within our little economy. And I'm
Mhm.
still working on ways to fully implement it. We haven't like fully went live with it yet because basically I'm working just in the Discord with like a couple hundred really hardcore fans with it, and we're just
Mhm.
seeing how everything works. And then I'm gonna have like a whole presentation and like go full in on it. So
Awesome. And I wanted to ask if you could tell us what are some of the cool things that people can either do now or will be able to do in the future with your social money.
yeah, I think a huge one will be um like people really like the like FaceTimes and one-on-one kind of things like that. I also like what we have right now is I have like songs called Angels, Rebels, Monster, Under My Bed, which is a popular one, and a song called Rockstar. And basically right now they're like tiers in our Discord, and you get like a, like a mod gets like a yellow or whatever, but like if you're an angel, you get like a certain color and like a status within our group and with our Discord. And like, it's really cool because you get little roles that you can help. You can like edit some things. And then the higher you get, the harder it is to get, but it shows like, it's not just like you're a fan on Twitter. You really get to like, this is my badge kind of thing, So
Yeah.
that's what I've been doing now. But I do want to get into like redeem it for like, you say like a hoodie is $60, like, you can get like a discount code if you turn in some Riz kind of thing. Like, so I'm working on a bunch of it. I also think like VIP with shows would be really cool. Like if you have angel status or like rockstar status, you just get VIP for shows and like things like that. So,
Yeah, that'd be great.
yeah.
And do you see social money in general, in longer term, as something that can empower singers, songwriters, rappers, and generally people in the music industry?
Yeah. I mean, I think especially with fans that have, with artists that have fan bases that are very interacting and like engaging, I think it's super important to like make sure they feel not that they're even rewarded, but it's more like they're seen. You know what I mean? Because
Hmm.
there's so much. I can't answer every DM and I can't, respond to every tweet. But I think this is a way where it's like an instant gratification, being like, "Hey, I support your music." And there's like different ways. Like you can't always buy some artist's CD or merch, but you can do other things like listen to their music, stream a video on YouTube. Buy concert tickets, tell or share music with a friend. And I think those are ways to be rewarded for that. And yeah, I think that's important.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I've got to ask, have you thought about doing raise airdrops with your music, like something maybe as a QR code appearing in your video clips? That would definitely be interesting.
See, that's what it's because I was gonna do that actually with one of these music videos, and we're still editing them. So I think it'd be so cool to be like a minute 30 in, just have like even it might not even need to be a pause. We'll figure it out, but like a QR code like in the corner and being like, when I tweet it out or be like, hey, who can find the Riz within this video type stuff. That'll be really cool.
Yeah, and you could even do it like kind of like Fight Club style, where it's just a frame, and you have
Yeah.
to just really be there and be watching the video. Yeah, that'd be
Flash. Yeah.
great. And what has been the response like so far from your community, your fan base, your followers in terms of Riz? I saw some of them on Twitter, and they were really excited about it.
Yeah. So Twitter is like didn't really use it until I realized how much the crypto world is on Twitter.
Hmm.
I've been getting back onto that, but like my main thing is um, Instagram and YouTube, and I have like a texting app that's pretty big. I have a couple thousand people there.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, really within the Discord is awesome. So I'll be like, hey guys, new songs coming out, and people are like, how can I earn Riz? Like that. It's like a thing now. It's
Yeah.
really cool, even though it's just a few hundred people right now because it's the like super hardcore fans. But once I go out to more people, the hardest thing was just kind of explaining it to them. And once they get it, they're like, how can I get more Riz? Like,
Mhm.
I don't need 500 more for a FaceTime with you, like things like that. It's really cool. And they're really excited about it, which makes me excited. And I'm like, I need to make more music. I need to get more ways to, I don't know. It's awesome. It's like a whole brand new economy.
Yeah, definitely is. And answering to those fans, what are some of the ways that people can earn Riz?
Yeah. So, I mean, the main things are like, say like if you so I put this song out and I was like, yo, if you make a playlist and listen to it all night while you're sleeping, like just rack up all the streams.
Mhm.
We did that actually today. And as soon as I'm off this call, I told people like DM me on Instagram or Discord and prove to me that you listened, like show your receipts saying you listened and I'll send you 100 Riz. So
Yeah.
that's like one thing we're doing today. Um, uh, the frame like a QR code in a video, we kind of did that. I kind of had a janky do it. Like we did like a link, on YouTube,
Mhm.
but people followed it and they watched the video and they found like the link. But once we start doing QR codes, um, there's really tons of different ways, honestly. Like once we have merch, I mean, I have merch, but once I have this new rollout of merch, like this whole new summer line,
Mhm.
I'm gonna do if you buy Riz, like the first 10 people to get it or 100 people, whatever, um, in their confirmation email, they'll get a link to Riz and they'll
Mhm.
there.
Awesome.
So
So some sort of like a cashback.
exactly. It's exactly because then it's like, hey, you supported me, and like, and I don't like to say the real world, but it's like you gave me money, and now
Mhm.
I'll give you Riz to use within our Call Me Charisma world.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Absolutely, yeah. And it's great kind of like interconnecting the two, and giving fans back, and that's what it's all about.
exactly, exactly. Well, especially because it's like the bigger you get as an artist, the harder it is to like respond individually.
Mhm.
But this is a way that it's like, hey, I might not be able to get back to every message or anything, but here's me saying like, I do appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. And what's next for you and Riz in general?
I was I was just talking with I, I don't know his name, but he's helping us in the Discord in our chat. But we were kind of going through different ways of what we could do with even like crypto art like NFTs and things like that, and how we can like interchange wallets and how we can do more on Discord. I want more of my admins and people that are higher up in the tiers to be able to gift it to people, and we haven't. They know how, but we haven't really done that yet, just because
Mhm.
there hasn't been enough Riz out there to start. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna actually start giving them more to kind of, if someone's being nice in a chat or helpful or, promoting my music, they can, I'm not always there, but they can start airdropping it to, other fans.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
And have you thought in the future about creating? Because you mentioned like there not being enough Riz circulating or going around. Have you thought in the future creating a market for Riz?
oh yes, of course. Well, because there was, we couldn't withdraw or whatever for a little bit, but it's once I think that is that back now or
Yes, right now it's still kind of manual.
yeah,
We're reviewing withdrawals manually, but we're just finalizing everything to make
yeah,
it.
no, because I would love to do a market like, I've kind of been uh kind of saving up ETH, and like I'm kind of because I'm explaining it to people, and I think Riz and social money is a great way. It's like a great segue into crypto, more crypto, and I think that's so important because it's hard to explain to people like, I'm on Foundation or whatever, and they're like, well, what's ETH? What's Ethereum? Or like, what is that? And then I'm like, oh, it's so hard, but I think social money is a great stepping stone to that world, and
Mhm.
that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah, and regarding that, do you think your community has found, kind of like social money in the way Roll Platform operates, which is more towards Web 2 than it is towards Web 3? Do you think your community has found that helpful in terms of participating in your community? Because I feel with social money, you don't necessarily need to know more about having a wallet or knowing what a blockchain is. You just kind of like dive into it and get engaging and interacting with your fellow, with the creator you're following.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think because there have been kind of things like it, like
Mhm.
fan clubs and like reward points and like things like that if you go to a store. But I think this is, like I said, it's a good because I do fully believe that like Web3 and crypto and blockchain and all this stuff is the future.
Mhm.
And I know that, and you see these bigger artists like Eminem and stuff on Nifty Gateway and things like that, and it's just like crazy because he probably has no idea, but someone is being like, "Hey, this is important because this is what's next."
Mhm.
And I think seeing those bigger artists start doing it, I think it's some people are kind of like crap about it because they're just like, "Oh, they're just using it for money," but I do think it does help awareness, even if they are getting rich off it. So yeah, I think it's a great step, and it really shows that um, people want to be involved. Like they want to. And that's what social money I think is a good way to get people involved in your fan base.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Appreciate that. Awesome. To kind of like close things out on a fun note, I've got a super random question. There's no a real answer. There's no correct answer. So, if you were cutlery, what would you rather be? A spoon, a fork, or a knife, and why?
Whew. I
Asking the
honestly,
real questions here.
I think a spoon.
A
I think
spoon.
a spoon because a spoon, like if you use it hard enough, you can cut some stuff.
Mhm.
But with a fork, you can't have like maybe like yogurt or soup or something. But a spoon, I think you can kind of do it all.
Awesome. Yeah, I'd be something weird, like maybe a spork. You know,
Yeah, well, exactly. Hey, I didn't get that option. Okay, if I had that option, I would have chosen for sure.
Awesome. Awesome. And where can we find more about you, your social, your YouTube channel? Do you want to share
Yeah,
that
I mean,
with us?
everything is Call Me Charisma. So if you at anything on, Twitter, Instagram, a Discord, whatever. I don't know the number on that, but I'll link something somewhere. And then YouTube is Call Me Karizma. Website is callmekarizma.com. Basically everywhere. So
Awesome. And regarding your Discord, is that open or is that only by invite or to your like Reese holders?
no, it's open. And then there's certain tiers that you can get in. Like we have a chat just for like the first tier is angels. So if you get, I think it's 100 Riz, you get into that. And then we have our own chat there, but I'm pretty everywhere. You don't need to have Riz to be in the Discord, but it's a plus. So
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. Lovely to hear that. Awesome. So that would be always, unless you have anything else that you want to say. Now's the time to do it.
no, I mean, really just I just, since this is kind of about like crypto and all that, there's a lot of doubters and I was one of them. And I think I am somewhat proof that, with information and the right people around you, and this isn't just for crypto, but anything, I guess, in life, having an open mind about something can really open in opportunities and doors that you wouldn't know. And I think this is a good example of that. So
Awesome. Well, Riz, thank you so much for stopping by Road Radio. It was great having you.
for sure. Thank you so much, man.
Absolutely.